everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am filming this on the very last day of May. We're about to get into my May reading wrap-up. It's been a long month for me, a long week. I usually read like 8 books a month, but this month I only read 6, which is still a lot, not as much as I normally read, so boo on that part. At the end of every month, I post my wrap-up and my next month's TBR on my Instagram. If you want to see that sooner than my videos come out, I will link last month's reading wrap-up if you haven't watched that. Overall, I had a good reading month in the sense that I read a lot of things that I liked. Without further ado, let's get into everything I read in the month of May. We started the month off strong with reading one of my most highly anticipated reads of the year. I feel like I've said that like several times, but this one, like, for real. V.E. Schwab is my Insta-buy author. She is my most favorite author. I had begged the publisher for a physical ARC, and I also got the ARC on my Kindle. I also got the audio ARC available, so I had 3 avenues to consume this book. It comes out in like 10 days, I think, at the time I'm filming this video, which is May 31st. The book that I speak of is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, which has been marketed thus far as toxic lesbian vampires, and when I had first heard her talk about this, when I went on the Addie LaRue paperback tour, I was immediately sold. Obviously. I wrote a pretty in-depth review on my Instagram about my thoughts on this. Who was surprised to hear that I absolutely adored it. One of my top reads this year. When I do my end of the year wrap-up, this is going to be in the top 10. Absolutely. How do I even talk about this book? If you've read... Hold on. If you've read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab and also watched the Interview with the Vampire series on Netflix, I think it's on Netflix. Editing Trinity, is it on Netflix? Right. If you've consumed either of those pieces of media, it's like if Addie LaRue was evil and also a vampire. I also said this was like if In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado had combined with those two things, because the narrative on queer abuse and queer toxicity was jarring. I didn't expect it to hit me as hard as it did. I'm saying nothing new when I say that V.E. Schwab is an excellent writer. She has consistently blown my mind over and over again. Bury Our Bones is a unique take on a classic gothic literature trope. V.E. Schwab takes those tropes and kind of spins them on their head. She explores things like queer abuse and toxicity, and whether or not death is a kind of freedom or what freedom really means, especially in terms of immortality, which obviously is a huge discussion in vampire literature. Bury Our Bones is a phenomenal book, and I'm so excited for it to be out and on the shelves and for people to be reading it. I am going to the tour. I'm going to one of the tour stops for Bury Our Bones, so that's super exciting, and I'll definitely be vlogging that, so look forward to that in June. Easiest 5 stars I've ever given anything. And I would like to say my reading experience with this was crazy. I was finishing it at night on my Kindle. It started pouring and it was past midnight, and I was like curled up in my bed in my dark room, and thunder started like rumbling. Thunder was so intense it was shaking the picture frames on my wall, and lightning was like flashing in my room periodically while everything was kind of coming to a head. It was so cinematic. I felt very immersed, so that probably has to be one of my favorite like reading experiences. Moving on to the next book I read this month, which was The Romance Rivalry by Susan Lee. There was a huge event that happened in Orlando here, which was a stop on the Romance Rivalry tour. We had Susan Lee, obviously, because she was heading the tour, but we also got Ali Hazelwood, Julie Soto, Christina and Lauren of Christina Lauren, and Nikki Payne. I got this super awesome signed poster, which all of them had signed. Isn't that so cool? I got my Romance Rivalry copy personalized by Susan, so that was awesome. This was such a sweet YA book that really reminded me of all the comforting things that I love about To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which I loved that series in high school. In the Romance Rivalry, they're both in college, so they're a little bit older. They're both influencers, and the whole like shtick in this is that the main character takes you through all of these romance tropes to fall in love, basically, and her and the male main character make it into a game to see who can fall in love first. This was a super quick read because I was super into it. Susan Lee is just such a sweet, sweet person. She deserves all the flowers, and her writing is so fun and, like I said, very comforting to me. I also just loved all of the characters. Susan has such a witty way of writing, and I really enjoyed her prose in the romance Rivalry. I thought it was very funny and also reminded me of the way she speaks in real life. She does have her first adult novel coming out. It's at the end of the year, maybe September, I can't remember. I'll put it up here. But it's called Julia Song is Undateable, and I just got approved on NetGalley for that, and I will be reading that. It's on my June TBR because I'm so excited to read it, so definitely looking forward to that. I would definitely recommend it. I loved this book, and I would suggest for you to read it. My next read is the one that we've all been waiting for. Well, there's two in this video, I would say, you've probably been waiting for. But one of the ones, I finally finished the Poppy War trilogy. I'm at a loss for words. I've spoken about the Poppy War trilogy a lot on this channel so far, and I would like to do a full in-depth post or review or something. I'll keep this one brief. The Burning God is the conclusion to the Poppy War trilogy, and you know, everything kind of comes to an end here. I was absolutely wrecked. I will say, and I don't think this is a popular opinion, out of the 3 books, The Dragon Republic, the second one, is my favorite. But that doesn't seem like it is the common opinion. A lot of people seem to not like that one as much as the other 2, which is odd to me. All of these books are 5 stars to me. There was not a moment in this book where I could predict what was going to happen. In this whole series, honestly, I couldn't with confidence say, I think this is gonna happen. Spoiler warning, huge spoiler warning. Please avoid this. I'll do the thing that I normally do and put the spoiler warning thingy right here, so skip ahead. I told myself, I said, if Katai dies, I'm myself. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? That line at the very end, and they're all Najah, Katai, and Rin, all 3 of them are on the island, and she is beating Katai and says something like he was looking at her the same way she had looked at Alton and the same way Daji had looked at Dragon Emperor. I forget his name. That was oh god, oh my god. And the little after chapter we got of Najah after he stabs her was devastating, horrible. I hated this series. I loved this series. It was incredibly painful. I do want to read the little 2.5 novella that I think is on a PDF or something of snippets of the story. I don't know if it's the Poppy War and Dragon Republic or what, but it's pieces of it from Najah's point of view. I definitely need to read that. I think I already have the PDF downloaded. I just don't like reading on my phone. 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. One of the best political fantasy series I have ever read. I think this might be the political fantasy series. Next up, I read Ashley Herring Blake's new release as a palate cleanser called Dream On, Ramona Riley. I don't think I've really mentioned Ashley Herring Blake on this channel before, but I loved the Delilah Green series. Unfortunately, Delilah's book is my least favorite. My favorite of the 3 is Iris Kelly. Even though I do think Delilah is the hottest, Iris Kelly's book is my favorite. Dream On Ramona Riley was a super fun, super messy sapphic romance. If you have not read Ashley Herring Blake before, she could do a masterclass in writing messy lesbians. I love it. Messy lesbians in a small town, specifically. This one is about an A-list actor who's the daughter of these 2 super famous rock stars, and then a small town wannabe fashion designer. They come to the small town to film this upcoming movie, which is an adaptation of Iris Kelly's book. I loved that little crossover, especially because she's my favorite. It was so fun, so good. I breezed through it. Ashley Herring Blake, like I said, does messy lesbians super well, but she also, in my opinion, writes really nice sapphic smut. I just thought this was really fun. Perfect for summer too. She just teased the cover for the next book in this series, which is April Evans something, which is Ramona Riley's best friend. I didn't have anything less than 4 stars this month, so it's been a good month. Next up, I read Chain Gang All-Stars. This was the only book club pick I managed to read this month. I did not read the other 2, which is unfortunate, but whatever. Anyway, I read Chain Gang All-Stars, which is like a dystopian novel, largely based on the prison industrial complex. I say dystopian because it really isn't dystopian. I guess on a technicality, you could describe it as that, but with our country and our prison industrial complex, the topics and themes they discuss in this book are not unbelievable. Like, they are extremely believable. It's basically like Hunger Games-esque in that they have prisoners fight each other to the death, and it's a game, and people not in prison consume that as like entertainment. I think it's called like hardcore sports entertainment or something like that. I did really enjoy Chain Gang All-Stars. I will say I feel like it was a tad overhyped in some ways. It didn't hit exactly how I thought it was going to. I gave it 4 stars, which I did like it. A lot of nuanced things came up in this book that I just like hadn't thought about before or hadn't thought about in a certain way, and I love reading fiction where it is thought-provoking and, you know, you can draw parallels to it in real life, so I enjoyed those aspects of it. I thought that the author did a very good job with the characters and their development. I thought it was very unique, and I am glad I picked it as a book club pick because it is a very like discussion-provoking book, I guess. I did enjoy it. Obviously it is a heavy topic, so check the trigger warnings. It is a bit gory if you're interested in reading it, but I would definitely recommend it. The next book I read was Problematic Summer Romance by Hazelwood. I gave this 5 stars. I know. After I got on this channel with confidence and said I'm not a big fan of Hazelwood's books, Problematic Summer Romance could have been written by a different person. I don't mean that literally, like Allie's author voice is still very, very clear in her writing, but this one was so different from her other ones, and I can't quite put my finger on why. I read my physical copy, and I also mostly listened to the audiobook, and I think something big that was a factor in why I liked this one so much was the change in narrator. I listened to Deep End too, and I wasn't a fan of the audiobook for that one. The people who narrated Problematic Summer Romance, the girl who plays Maya, she was so good. There was just something about this one that hit different. I think Maya is such a strong character. I absolutely loved her. I thought she was so funny, so witty, and also like she was a bad bitch. She knew what she wanted and she wouldn't stop until she got it. The spice? Yeah. It was good. It was good. I would definitely recommend this. Not that Hazelwood needs more press. I know everyone already loves her, so you don't need my recommendation to read this. I was just so surprised that I loved it as much as I did. Maybe that's what I get for being a hater, is being proven wrong and then having to admit it on my YouTube channel. But hey, you know, sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes things change, and that's okay. I won't change my previous opinions. I still didn't like her other books, but this one? Anyway, that is everything I read in May. Kept it short and sweet this month. I am super excited for next month. If you want to see my June TBR, definitely check that out on my Instagram. It is Pride Month. Legally, everyone has to be nice to me. As always, if you want to see more consistent content from me, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm always posting something fun on there. That is everything I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.